So lately, I've been trying to think about what it's like to be in survival mode. And for me, survival mode isn't just about being busy, but it's always about knowing that there's another hurdle, there's another expectation to be met, another opportunity that has to be earned instead of assumed. And as a black man in America, I sometimes feel a heightened sense of pressure to prove myself. When I think about our history, slavery, segregation, discrimination, and the barriers that we have had for generations, I cannot ignore the weight that history carries. And even though progress has been made, I still feel like there's inequalities today, and sometimes that creates that feeling that I have to work twice as hard to show that I'm capable. I mean, the thing about it is, I feel like black people have been going through this systemic racism for years, and it's affecting the way not only how we see the world, but how we see ourselves. Um, I think the anxiety and pressure that came from slavery and how the slave masters would usually try to beat us into submission. Then we were free on Juneteenth, and then after Juneteenth, um, we were not free in our minds, and we still had to go through a lot of discrimination and segregation, um, and still a lot of hate. And I think black people right now, we're trying to we're some of us are not comfortable with ourselves in a sense of we're racist to our own selves. We see ourselves as drug dealers and killers and rapists and really people that are out to do wrong. We see ourselves as that. White people see us as that, but we see ourselves as that. So if like we feel like we're a self-righteous black person, then you know when we look at other black people, we don't see them as righteous as us, and we try to belittle them as much as possible. And I feel like that happens usually with the older generation looking at the younger generation. They think that the younger generation is out of control, they're not focused, they're not doing what they need to do, and they're not getting far in life. That's just how they look at the younger generation. Um, so a lot of times they put us down. They're like, okay, we see the younger generation here, but they're not doing anything. They're not getting far. They're not focused. Blah blah blah. And it's just so belittling. Honestly, it's so belittling to discourage someone before they even have a chance to prove themselves. And I just feel like it's not just older generation with younger generation. I feel like it's just black people in general. We like to down ourselves even before we give ourselves a chance. Um, and it's already a lot of pressure based on how others treat us, and then we treat ourselves sometimes even worse than how other people treat us. Sometimes, I'll be honest, I get along with white people more than I do black people. Um, And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying that because um, there's just a lot of racism and pressure, and that affects me, you know, because of my interactions with people. Um, I feel that, it's a pressure that wants me to like prove myself, like I have to prove myself. I have to study harder, work harder, prepare more, do more, stay up longer, grind, go crazy, try to outdo everyone. Like that's just how much I feel. Like I have to compete really hard. I have to compete so hard because the world is competitive, and people say, and some people tell me, "Oh, you don't have anything to prove." Like the people close to me, my parents, and even my brother, they're like, "Oh, you don't have anything to prove. Why are you trying to compete so hard? Why are you trying to work so hard? You have nothing to prove." But you know what? Like, fuck that. Fuck that. Like, there's so much to prove. And it's not just being a black man in America, it's being a black individual in America in general. Like, everyone has something to prove because there's a reason why I didn't get a job after college. I had a master's degree. And a lot of times you would think that having a master's degree would mean that you're taken seriously, but that's not the case. Getting a master's degree means nothing anymore, especially when you go to a college um, that not a lot of people think highly of. Not a lot of people think highly of HBCUs because they're black colleges, and not a lot of people think highly of black people. That's just the truth. Not saying that you don't go to an HBCU. I go to an HBCU because I've had family go to this certain HBCU for generations and generations, and my family roots are in my favorite HBCU. I mean, and plus, if I'm able to get an education and you got people that really care about me, then why not get that education and become a smarter version of myself? Of course, everything else I learned I could do through certifications and everything like that, but why not just upgrade, you know, and keep on upgrading? It's just, for me, it was so embarrassing and humiliating to just come out of school and apply for jobs and then not get one and then go back to school just because I didn't get a job. And it's also really a sad state of what's been going on because honestly, I know a lot of people. I could have reached out, and sometimes I did reach out to people. I wanted someone to help me get a job or an internship or something like that, but nobody wanted to help me out. So if someone says you don't have anything to prove, I disagree completely with that. I think we all have something to prove, not because our worth depends on other people's approval. I think, no, actually, I think that our worth depends on other people's approval. Honestly, um, I think that if you mean something, your credentials and all this type of stuff, then and then a person accepts you. You see, some people don't have to accept you. Some people could look at your credentials and be jealous. Um, you just have to find a way to please people in a way. Um, opportunities often goes to the people who uh, prepare and are consistent and give results. That's just how it is. Um, Sometimes it's based on connections, but I think it's mostly about preparation, consistency, and results. And that's the reality of graduate school, and that's the reality of engineering, and that's the reality of the job market. You either continue improving or someone else is going to take your place. And that doesn't discourage me, it motivates me. And at the same time, I realize that competition is not the only challenge. You know, having trust in someone else is another challenge that I've encountered. Um, of course, right now I don't have friends. I don't have people that I could rely on. I pray to God for a friend. I pray because I'm lonely. Honestly, I don't trust anyone. I don't trust easily. Everyone's betrayed me in some specific way, you know? Um and even if they didn't betray me, honestly, I don't know if I'll ever meet those certain people again. Why text someone when you know they're not going to respond? A lot of times that's why I do emails. Emails are, for me, the safer alternative than texting or even calling people. Now, if it's for business related purposes, I will call and text. Like if it's my professor or if it's my coworkers, I will call and text. But otherwise, I am not going to do all that type of stuff. And even if it is my coworkers, I'm not going to call and text that much. I will do it here and there in every blue moon. I'm not gonna just try to be friendly, like uh, oh, did you hear about the World Cup? Or oh, let's hang out this day. Let's do this. Let's do that. No, I'm not that friendly. I recently lost someone that I thought would be a part of my professional life, and I was a part of this I-Corp program, which is funded by the National Science Foundation. And, when I stepped away from the I-Corp program after the faculty member, which was the professor who was the technical lead, who originally brought me into the program, stepped away, our communication ended. I mean, literally, after I said I would step away, after the professor who took the initiative first stepped away, um, I was emailing him, trying to help him, continue with this program. There were some interviews that he had to do, and I'm like, let me send you information about the people, and let me help you set up some of these interviews, because before I stepped away from the program, I already emailed these people and they said that they wanted to do an interview. So that was the initial thing. But regardless, he didn't respond back and he didn't even join the meetings or anything. And I don't know why I was doing that to help him. It hurt because I didn't know why he decided to just change all of a sudden, because I don't know what any other person is thinking. You see, he did initially talk about, oh, I want to be your friend, and um, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's important for men to have friends amongst each other, blah, blah, blah. But he just cut me off. So I'm like, why did you do that? You know, what did I do? I helped you out so many times. And I feel like he's just gonna be friends with his Nigerians and hang out with them all the time, you know? I mean, relationships have seasons and some people stay and some people leave. And as painful as that is, I've learned that I can't build my future by trying to hold on to every relationship. So I'm gonna cut him off. Like, I'm gonna cut him off, and I'm literally like, I don't want him to ever be around me. Like, I don't want his fucking energy to be around me. Um, I just have to let people go and move forward, you know? I'm not bitter. Well, maybe I am a little bit bitter. I am bitter. I'm very bitter. But I have to accept this. And that's what I have to accept for all these other people who cut me off, you know? Um, it's just like I've been reflecting so much on this, you know? I spend so much energy on when people believe in me or want to be with me, and I forget an important question: do I believe in myself enough to keep going? And that's the question I have to answer every morning, um, because I need to figure out if I'm going to keep on showing up. It's not about if people will support me. It's not about if people will understand me. Because honestly, nobody will understand me. I feel misunderstood all the time. Um, I feel misunderstood to the point that it's affecting my health. Like, my therapist has, um, my therapist, when I just had a meeting with him, he was he was upset. I could feel it in his tone. I was upset, of course, but he was upset. He's like, if you want to fire me, go ahead. I don't care. If you know, you are always slow. You're not paying attention. You you need an up dose on your medication. There's no reason why we're supposed to have a meeting today because you're not paying attention and you're not focusing. When all I do, I take notes every meeting, and he's like, "You're not paying attention." So I'm just not gonna talk. I'm just gonna say you need to up dose and medication, whatever. And he doesn't realize that I'm just going through digestive issues. Um, it's frustrating, you know. Every time you increase on medication, I go through digestive issues, and this happens with a lot of medications out there. They affect your health in different ways. The more problems I have on my digestive tract, the more aggressive I get and the more upset I get and the more I start feeling weird inside. Um, and it's just so frustrating because this goes back to the beginning of the conversation. I feel like if I wasn't black, would they treat me differently? Would my therapist consider me much more differently if I was like a different culture, you know? Would he take me more seriously instead of pointing at me and it's like, "Oh, it's all your fault. That's why you can't do anything in life. You're not successful." It just felt like he was going on and on about that. And I just sat there and listened. Like, I didn't have the strength to even stand up for myself. But anyway, I want to make thoughtful decisions about my health. I mean, I need to change how I eat, when I eat. I have to talk with my doctor. I might just spend some time, going through fast so I can, you know, have my physical health looking good because honestly, the physical health is going to help me with my academic goals and everything else that I do in life. Um, you know, it's a part of reaching my goals. That's what health is. Um, I just have to take care of myself and be able to accomplish these things like grad school, comprehensive exam, PhD, engineering, stuff like that. It's not. It's basically you gotta survive, but there's more to it than just surviving. I don't want to spend my life um, going through this berating of people putting me down because I'm fucking black. You get what I'm saying? I want to be disciplined. I want to be the most resilient person on this earth, and I want to have a huge amount of purpose. Um, I want to study hard, even when I don't feel like studying. I want to study harder than everyone else. Um, I need to get more rest when my body needs rest. I need to take my health seriously. I need to um, not let my disappointment define me. Um, I have to compete with everything I got and everyone because um, my achievement matters a lot. My character matters just as much as my achievements. And I don't know exactly what every obstacle in front of me will look like. But I'm here. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. Every challenge that I go through is just another reason that I could overcome the next one. Um, I plan to take the FE exam next year. Yeah, I didn't pass it this year, but I'm not going to stop. The main reason why I didn't pass it was because I spent literally a whole week studying for it, and that was the wrong decision. But, you know, I have more time, and once I pass the comprehensive exam, I'm going to keep on going and become the most profitable engineer that I could possibly be. Um, you know, I'm not I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not afraid of anyone. I'm not scared. Yeah, if I don't say shit, that doesn't mean that I'm scared. I'm just not going to talk to you. I'm not going to respond to everything that you have to say. I'm determined to do what I got to do. Um, I can't control these prayers. Um, I can't pray for something and expect for me to get it. But it's all about how hard I'm going to work. It's all about how I prepare for all these things that are happening. It's all about how I respond. How am I going to keep myself level headed? And sometimes you just have to be quiet and grind. Put all my energy into what I have to do. Life is tough, but we'll see about next month when I take my comprehensive.